You show up at this place and it's like a gladiator coliseum. I mean, Daytona, the home of racing. Like, you look at it and you can't believe it's real. It's the coolest thing. It was raining and cold, and we showed up and they were drying the track, but everything seemed to be on schedule. I met my spotter, Jeff.
Just be real conscious of all your safety equipment, your belts, tug on it, make sure you're in there tight, feel comfortable.
Who was with me for the driver's meeting, and the driver's meeting was cool because they introduced everybody, from ARCA, great staff, and then basically the rules were, don't be a douche. Bobby went up there, and I think, to me, it's a big honor because I'm learning from the guy who was asked to be the guy to tell everybody what to do. And he went up there and basically said, hey, if you see a pack coming up behind you, get out of the way high so you can get in with them. Don't try to join a pack from the front because you'll get steamrolled. And so I got into a van with Bobby riding shotgun, an ARCA official driving, and I was in the back with the other rookies who are all 20 years younger than me. But really my only experience on track at Daytona was iRacing. And it looked similar. I just didn't know it doesn't translate to the car. And so my biggest fear was that I would do what I did in iRacing and go spin out on the apron trying to get on the track, or spin out in the pits, or something stupid, because today the biggest point was not lap times but procedures. If you could safely maneuver your way onto the track, off the track, without doing anything dumb, dangerous, or different. We go up back to the pits, and it's the standard military hurry up and wait. Nothing's going on. Track drivers are doing their thing. I'm ready to just get going. Like, I've got this nervous energy, and I'm like, I just want to see what this is like. I want to get this going. Am I going to be okay in this car? Finally, Jeff comes back and says, hey, ARCA said, 12:30, we're going to go. And Bobby says, well, wait a minute, 12:30, they're going to go. We're going to wait and let them do a couple laps and make sure the track is actually good before we put you out there. So all those teams went, and they started drafting like right away, like they weren't going singles. I put my suit on and got in the car and strapped in, and I was so hyped up. He's like, you forgot your Hans device. Crap, get out, put the Hans on, sit that there. He's like, hey, you forgot this. Damn, okay. Because the last time I strapped in the car was me wearing jeans and a t-shirt testing the car, and it just didn't dawn on me that I needed that. And it's a brand new Hans device that I just bought too. And so I get strapped in, comm check, everything's good. I'm like, okay. They push me out, I get the thing cranked. I'm like, okay, don't die. Don't stall this thing in front of everybody, and don't get lost, because there's an intricate pattern to get out of the pits. Get out of the pits, and I start going, and I'm kind of like, they told us if you wanted to wait in the pits for an opening, you stayed in a pit stall, otherwise you just go. And I'm like, do you want me to go? Do I go? Do I not go? I don't know. And they're like, no, go, let's go. And so I get back on the apron, get in the third, kind of hold it low, because again, I don't want to spin out, and then get on the track. And I'm like, okay, it's cool, send it. Because one of the things Billy, the crew chief, had said was, he pulled me aside and he said, listen, it's okay. You know, we've had guys come out here before. The first time they go into the corner, they lift. He's like, you're not going to do it on purpose. You're just going to lift because, you know, you're not used to this. And this everybody does that. Everybody lifts the first time. And I was like, challenge accepted. I hit fourth and I just put it to the absolute like stop of the pedal. And I go into the corner and using the exact line I used in iRacing. I'm like, I recognize that. I'm gonna go down. And as soon as you dive down, you're like, this is weird. You know, because the car, you can feel the grip in your butt. Like the car is wanting to kind of wiggle out, but then it's planted, but you don't have any room to move in the seat, but you're shifted and you're pulling like about 1.5 Gs normally because you're under bank and maintaining, but you're also pulling about a G and a half laterally, and it's this weird forces, and you're like, oh, that's different. Okay, all right, well, stay, you know, okay. Cars, you know, it's not great, but it's doing its thing. So I go around front stretch, and I just set up for the next one, and then I set up for the next one, and I'm like, okay. I'm kind of getting a feel for this. The car in the center of the corner, it didn't like me running high. So I would drive it back down and then let it set. And it just had this understeer to it, right in the center of the corner. I'm like, man, I don't like that. And the first time it did it coming off of turn 4, it kind of scared me because it was like trying to push right off into the wall. And then during that session, we actually had a car, I think it was early on because I wasn't up to speed yet. He was running me down as I was getting on the track, and they're like, hey, you know, stay low. He's gonna pass you on the outside. I was like, okay. But the car wouldn't stay low. Like it was taking a lot of stuff, and I could just feel it sliding up the track, and I'm like, God, this sucks. Yeah, this really sucks. I'm like, I hope this dude doesn't try to pass me on the outside because I can't keep it low. I can't do this. And he backed off because he was pitting. So I never saw any traffic at that point. But so then they were like, hey man, good job. Come on in, let's pit. So I pit, and they said, well, are you gonna, they said, you know, how'd you think it is? I said, well, it's got, you know, it's understeer. I said, it's pushing. They go, pushing? I'm like, you know, it's tight. And they're like, oh, tight, yeah, we can fix that. They're like, okay. I said, you want me to get out? Nope. Fix it, go right back out. Oh, okay. So I go out, and he's like, go man, go, you know, get going. And now it drives a little better. Now it's not doing that in the center, it's more docile. And the thing to note about Daytona is it's not like a traditional track where it's like loose means the car is just squirrely, you know, cold trickle style, you know, loose is fast and on the edge you're out of control. It's just how much you're having to turn the wheel. Because if you're understeering, you're turning the wheel a lot to get it to actually turn. And if it's loose, you know, it's too twitchy. It's all about minimizing the steering wheel movement. So they took that out and ran a couple laps, and I came in. And then I think I took a break at that point because they had some stuff they wanted to do. They wanted to connect the laptop and stuff. And throughout the day, it was just, you know, different things. The oil pressure, that's what it was. I came in because I told them on the radio, I'm like, hey, listen, the oil pressure gauge keeps spiking from 70 to 90 on the backstretch only. Front stretch, it's fine. Corners, it's fine. But on the backstretch, it's doing this, and I'm getting a red light. And they're like, okay, we'll hook up the laptop. And it turns out it was just a bad gauge. No big deal.
Everywhere back to the backstretch. I come off. I hit it, and I see the oil temperature go 70. Temperature? No, sorry, pressure. 70 to 90. And I get the red highlight at the bottom. I think that's the red light at the bottom. I was gonna say it's fast and it's fun. I mean, that's awesome. That's as good as flying a fighter.
adjustments, went back out. Same thing, just slowly progressed. After the second or third one, I finally felt comfortable in the car. I felt like I knew what I was doing on the track, and it wasn't as much of a, I mean, it's like throwing cold water on you. It's like hitting that cold shower. Like, it is a shock the first time you do it, and then after you do it, you're like, oh yeah, okay. Because you're just not expecting it. I think that's the difference between simulation and real life, is that physicality of it is a shock. It's a shock to your system that you, yeah, you just weren't expecting it, you know, because you're like, oh, this should be, everybody's like, oh, it's just easy to drive. You just go in and stuff, and you're like, whoa, hey, you know, I'm under G here, you know. And instinctively, when I'm under G, I'm like, oh, I need a G string, you know, this is, what am I doing? We go through and do several more sessions. God, I mean, I don't know how many sessions we ended up doing. And then it was time to switch to the other car. And the other car, I can't tell you how many times Bobby or Billy came up to me before I got in the car and said, listen, if it doesn't look right, if it doesn't smell right, if it doesn't sound right, if there's something that's not right with this car, keep it on the apron and bring it back in. We've never driven this car. He's like, this is a brand new car for us. Don't do anything crazy, whatever. So like, okay. It doesn't have helmet air, which I got used to that. I love that, by the way. And with the helmet, you know, I realized that the visor has to be down to get full cooling, but yeah, it's nice. And it was the sun had come up, so it was starting to get hot on the track. And I went out and nothing smelled right, nothing sounded right, nothing looked right. Because I was looking for everything. Like, I'm on the front stretch and I'm like, is that a miss? Is it misfiring? What am I hearing? You know, is it knocking? What's going on? This gauge is upside down. That's probably not good. I don't know. Why is there hot air blowing in my face? It feels like somebody turned the fan on and just hot air straight to my face. Like, this sucks. Where is my hose? And oh, by the way, the pedals are so far forward that to press the gas, it's like a vertical stomp, which is kind of weird, but okay, I can deal with this. So it's just getting adjusted to a different car with a different seat and a different instrument cluster and everything. It doesn't have the shift lights like the other one does. You know, none of the lights work, and none of the stuff. But it's handling okay, except for the problem that the other car had with getting tight through the center of the corner. It's worse. And it's because they had set the cars up identically from leaving. So all the bad habits that we had just worked out were still there in this one. We do a couple laps, come in, they're like, hey, what's going on? I'm like, yeah, it's tight. And oh, I can't talk to them on the radio because every time I talk on the radio, it goes beep. So all I can do is hear them and not go. So we come in, make a couple adjustments, go right back out. And then they were like, did it fix it? Nope, still tight. Come in, make a couple adjustments, go right back out. And now I'm sweating in this car. Like, I'm hot, it's the end of the day. And I'm like, I don't know how these drivers do it.
You look tired.
It's hot. I had to put the visor down because of the sun. It's hot. Hot. I'm sweating. A lot of heat in this cockpit. We came in and parked it. They said go to tech. I brought both cars to tech, or I brought this car to tech, then they took the other car to tech, and they found out that we had more to play with, so hopefully tomorrow is better. I looked at the scoring of the ARCA time trials and originally found 5A and noticed that my times were 2 seconds off of everybody else, and I was bummed about that. You know, you go do a timed event, you want to be the fastest guy out there, or at least top 5. You don't want to be 38, which is where I'm at. And I kind of took that to heart because I was like, well, you know, I don't know what else I could do to be faster. This is as far as, and I talked to Bobby and he's like, listen, that car, you ran faster than that car did last time in practice. With adjustments we can make to make it even faster the next day. And oh, by the way, this is not a tech event, so different people run different specs. They're not race ready. And it also doesn't necessarily mean that that's a hit on you. It's just the way it is for this practice. And a lot of them are running faster because they're 2 seconds faster in the draft, you know, once you're with a pack. So tomorrow we should run with a pack. I think we had talked about doing it today, but I think running 2 cars, just solo. And I mean, I'm worried about the pack a little bit because, you know, single car that doesn't handle well, sometimes you're wondering how it's going to be with a bunch of other cars and you don't want to ruin somebody's day or your own day, but it should be interesting. And I don't know. I did talk to the ARCA folks and did an interview. I'll have to see how that works out. Kind of impromptu about what's it like going from fighters to flying, or from flying fighters to driving a race car. I'm like, it's different. The sensation of speed is so much greater in a race car than you ever get. I mean, even flying 200 feet, you know, I mean, it's just different. It's so much smoother, race cars are violently fast. You know, it is like raw and, you know, grip and speed and horsepower and torque and stuff. Airplanes are a lot smoother. You know, acceleration rates are smoother, well, except cat shots, which I didn't get to do, but everything in general is smoother. Even, you know, pulling 9Gs, the onset rates, you know, you get 9 and you're expecting it and you're doing something else, you're looking over your shoulder, you're playing, you know, you're fighting somebody, doing BFM. This is, I think what impressed me the most about today is that it's a physical and mental game. You know, you have to be focused the whole time. You have to be physically, you know, your core strength and stuff, and being able to withstand, because you're pulling G's. I mean, you're going through G forces over and over and over again.